Alright, today we're in section 5.7, solving equations and inequalities with rational numbers. In example 1, okay, this should look familiar to you. Alright, because we're solving these equations by first clearing the fractions. So I need to find the LCD among these three numbers, 6, 2, and 4. What would be my LCD? 12. It would be 12. So I need to multiply each term by 12. 1/2 by 12. And 3/4 by 12. And what I'm doing here is I'm cross-reducing. So 6 and 12 cross-reduce to make the 12 a what? A 2. And then 2 times -5 is -10x. Plus 2 and 12 cross-reduce to a 6. And 6 times 1 is 6. 4 and 12 cross-reduce to a 3. And 3 times 3 is 9. Very good. Okay, so now we're treating this like a two-step equation. We subtract 6 from both sides. -10x equals 3. Now what do I divide both sides by? 10 or -10? -10, and I write my final answer. X equals -3/10. -3/10. All right, I want you to try the next one. Okay, clear these fractions. So you have to clear them using your LCD. So find your LCD and then clear your fractions. So what's your LCD? What's your LCD, guys? It's 28. Okay, so that's what you're multiplying each term by. Don't forget to keep that negative. So multiply each term by 28. All right, so the 4 and the 28 cross-reduce to a 7. So -21x. 7 and 28 cross-reduce to a 4. So -20x. 14 and 28 cross-reduce to a 2. So that's 18. And now I can just, just 20, not x. So now I can solve this by adding 20 to both sides. I get -21x equals 38. Divide by -21. Did y'all get this? X equals -1 and 17 over 21. Okay, raise your hand if you got it. Did you get it right? Okay, any questions? If you got it wrong, do you have a question? Anything? Okay, so that's how I clear fractions. Now, example 2 is how do I clear decimals? How do I clear decimals? And when I'm clearing a decimal, I have to look at the place values of my decimals. Sorry, hold on. The place values of my decimals. So here it only goes to the what place? The first number. The 10th place. What about my second number? To the hundreds. What about my third number? To the tenths. So whatever the farthest decimal place is, which would be the hundredths here, that's the farthest, that's what I have to multiply the entire equation by, is 100. I have to multiply every term in this equation by 100. Do you see that? Distributive property. And what I'm essentially doing is I'm moving my decimal to the right how many places? 2. You paying attention? I'm moving it 2. So 2.3 becomes 230. 5 and 14 hundredths becomes 514. 8 tenths m becomes 80 m. Do you see that? So I cleared my decimals. And now I can solve this like a regular two-step equation. Go ahead and write up to that point. Now I want you to solve your two-step equation. So what do? What do you do next? Subtract 514 from both sides. And what do you get? -284 equals 80m. Divide both sides by 80. and m equals -3 and, okay, so you could have said -3 and 55/100ths, or you could have said -3 and what? 11/20. Either one. Either one. All right, anybody get that answer before I did? Good, good. All right, I'm going to erase this part just so we have room for the next problem. I'm going to say -3 and 11/20 underneath. Either one of these would be a fine answer. Okay, I want you to go ahead and solve the second one the same way. Clear your decimals and then solve the two-step equation. All right, so what am I going to multiply by? By 100. Very good. Multiply everything by 100 and I get 723 equals 410 plus 50m. Subtract 410 from both sides and you get 313 equals 50m. Divide both sides by 50. M equals what? 6? 6 and 13 over 50, or 6 and 26/100ths. All right, who got it right? Okay, good. So that's how you clear decimals. Now the last thing we need to learn is how you clear inequalities. How you clear inequalities. Well, what have we been doing all along? Okay, this is the same thing. So to clear an inequality, I first must find the LCD. I need to find the LCD of 4, 8, and 4. Well, what's the LCD? 8. It's 8. So I'm going to multiply every term in here by 8. Every term in here. So 4 and 8 cross-reduce to a what? 2, so -6m. 8 and 8 completely reduced, so that's just -1, is less than or equal to -1/4. Okay? And now, oh, this is going to be kind of interesting. Now I'm going to solve, okay, I'm sorry, no. Sorry. Is less than or equal to -2. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I'm just going to solve this like a two-step inequality. So what do I do first?
Plus the 1.
I add the 1, and now I have -6m is less than or equal to -1. And now how do I solve for m?
Switch by the inequality.
Very good. I divide by -6. And what is my rule? When I multiply or divide by a negative, to get my variable by itself, what happens to your inequality? I have to flip it. I have to flip my inequality. So now, instead of it being less than or equal to, it is now greater than or equal to 1/6. And it's positive because I divided two negatives by each other. M is greater than or equal to 1/6. The reason I switched my inequality is this guy right here. I had to divide by a negative. My rule is if I multiply or divide by a negative to get my variable by itself, I must switch my inequality. All right, you think you can do the second one?
Yes.
All right, I want you to go ahead and try. Okay, so what's the LCD? 30, very good. We went ahead and changed that denominator to make it a little easier to solve. So 30 was my LCD that I multiplied. I can cross-reduce now. When I cross-reduce the first term, what do I end up with? Very good. -5m. What's going to be my second one? 6. And then what's going to be my last term? 14. Good job. All right, now I'm just going to solve like normal. -6. Both sides, -5m is less than or equal to 8. Divide both sides by -5. Uh-oh. What happens? Gotta switch that inequality. We switch it. It's -8/5, or you can make it a mixed number, -1 3/5. We have to switch it because we had to divide by a negative. Okay? We had to divide by a negative. All right, so at this point, okay, that's what you need to know. Now, I am going to show you another way that you can solve inequalities. Okay, but if you like it this way, if you can do it clearing fractions, you do it like this every time and you're perfectly fine. There's just another way that you can do this, just like we learned two ways of doing other concepts. There's another way that we can solve inequalities. And that's by finding a common denominator. Okay, so instead of clearing the fractions, we're actually going to just work with the fractions and look to find a common denominator. So here I have x's. Okay, I've got some x's here, but I can't subtract them. Why can't I subtract them? Because one of them doesn't have a denominator. I know that x is over what? It's over 1. All right, so how do I get from 1 to 5? How do I get my LCD? What do I have to multiply by? 5. Okay, so now what I've done is I've created a common denominator, and now I can combine my variables. So what's 5 minus 1?
4.
All right, so it's going to be 4/5 x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 35. And now what do I do next? Subtract 2 from both sides. 4/5 x is greater than or equal to 33. And now how do I solve for x? Multiply by 5 over 4. Reciprocal. 33 times 5 over 4. Nothing cancels. So x is greater than or equal to, what's 33 times 5? 165 over 4. And then x is greater than or equal to 41.25 or 41 1/4. Either one. Okay, so now I want you to try one, finding the LCD. Like I said, on your quiz and your test, if you just want to clear the fractions, that's fine. This is just another way. Now we're going to actually deal with the fractions, and we do that by finding an LCD and then combining like terms. Okay, so our LCD is 4. So this becomes -2/4 x plus 3/4 x plus 2 is greater than 20. Then this becomes 1/4 x plus 2 is greater than 20. Subtract 2 from both sides. 1/4 x is greater than 18. Multiply both sides by 4. Multiply this by 4. And x is greater than 72. All right, who got it? 72? If you got it wrong, do you see where you went wrong? No? Okay, if you tried to do it clearing the fractions, you still should have gotten the right answer. Okay, so x is greater than 72. Good job to those who got it right. Again, this is just another method for solving inequalities with fractions. And if you understand that, then that's everything you need to know for what section? 5.7? Yes, 5.7.